So based on how Chris defines it, I'm pretty sure his video is going to be me and Ron telling Chris how he's wrong.
Well, you know what?
Really?
Hear my opinions. Just hear my opinions first, all right?
All
So
right.
I'll start. I'm a big Marvel guy. You guys know that Superman, maybe my favorite comic book character. My favorite superhero, at any rate. I'm a big Marvel guy. I grew up reading, Jim Lee X-Men, The Spirits of Vengeance.
Jim Lee X-Men is my shit. That's my geek button.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Yes.
My big geek button is Spirits of Vengeance. Danny Ketch will always be my Ghost Rider.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I like these Marvel movies. I actually didn't like Black Widow at all, but we talked about that off camera. But overall, like just with the schedule, like there's a movie every quarter now. I'm always like, okay, it's fine. I'll see it eventually. And they're usually fine. So Shang-Chi is the best MCU film since Spider-Man Homecoming.
Oh, okay.
It's fucking rad.
Okay.
I loved it.
All right. You took it through a roller coaster there. Well done.
So while I agree that Shang-Chi is a great movie, I didn't like Homecoming. So that raises my eyebrow, but I don't know. If you can convince me, I might be able to.
Mostly for Homecoming, Civil War is the other one I really didn't like. But Tom Holland as Spider-Man was phenomenal. So him in his own movie is good. So if we really go on, like, it impressed me on its own terms, would probably be like the first Guardians of the Galaxy or Winter Soldier, where I was just truly excited in the cinema watching it.
And that's more where I land. That's more where I
loved it. I was invigorated. I don't know how big you guys are.
The introduction of Black Panther particularly was
Black Panther was great
for me. Yeah.
Okay.
Like I
in Civil War, I mean,
be like Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2
or Winter Soldier.
So I don't know how big you guys are into Hong Kong or Taiwanese or Chinese cinema. I mostly know Hong Kong stuff.
Well, my extent of knowledge is Pearl of the Orient films, the people that did Bruce Lee's films in the 70s before he went back to Warner Brothers right before he died.
Yeah.
So
okay.
I know about those movies. I know about Raymond Chow. I know about, the efforts that then turned into kind of like Wu Ping's stunt team.
Yeah.
And all the stuff that happened. Yeah.
Fair enough.
That's where my knowledge is at.
But people know all that. People know all those big films, like all the Chow Brothers stuff, for a reason. They're fucking awesome.
They are.
Yeah.
They are. They're crazy.
But
they're awesome.
This film is not just lip service to wuxia, like old school legendary wuxia, like what's a big one? Jet Li's Hero, stuff like that, which is the other big Chinese martial arts film everybody's seeing. Quentin Tarantino's Jet Li's the Hero. You remember that marketing? Boy.
Hilarious. Yeah, but, where he brought it overseas, but he didn't make it. So
you get the early Chow Brothers stuff in the beginning, and then you kind of get more into like John Woo hardboiled territory. And you get like all the grunts with the guns and stuff. It covered so many bases. And did it do all of them to those levels? No, but I mean, like, who's going to do John Woo better than John Woo, right?
I mean, like, here's the thing. Like, this is basically like, hey, what if we just did a kung fu movie and like it's one half kung fu, the other half hardcore Chinese fantasy. And both things like, okay, yeah, like it fucking works.
And still, throughout all of that, the human connection I felt was the strongest.
That's why it works.
Which is what kept me watching. I think there's only one place where I feel like this falls short as a Marvel film. And it was the distinction that I made years back when we did the Black Panther stuff.
Yeah.
And I was explaining to Michael, there are superhero films and they veers off the path in this way. There's superhero films and they're comic book films, right? The people who did not like Black Panther wanted spectacle and they wanted nonstop action all the time that you get from superhero movies. But Black Panther, what we really did was give you a bunch of plot and character development that was crucial for him to exist in the world. And so that became a comic book film. I think Shang-Chi tries to be both. I think it's stronger as a superhero film. That's my opinion.
Okay.
Yeah, with that.
That's nothing. They tried to get deep. They tried to go with the family aspect. They're all good actors, so it works. But nothing beats him whooping everybody's ass on a fucking bus chopped in half, bro.
I mean, that being said,
that shit is hot. That shit is hot.
Like that means I did enjoy the character drama. I think it did add genuine stakes to the climax with the reintroduction of the Mandarin, who's actually like a well-developed character.
Oh,
right.
So about him.
Yeah.
If you watch more Hong Kong stuff, even if that's like only Wong Kar-wai Criterion released films, watch all of those. Those are fucking sick. Tony Leung is in a lot of them.
Yeah.
And I know that he is one of the biggest draws for a Chinese star, dramatic star, who was fluent in, most importantly, English. He can speak either Mandarin or Cantonese, just depending on what he's casting. So I thought he was too high a caliber. And I was like, he's going to be good, but out of place. And then
he's going to think he's above the material, you think?
Yeah, exactly. And then I heard him, in interviews where he's like, because I'm like, how the fuck do they get this guy? Well, I know how, money. But he's like,
Chinese money. It's all over Hollywood, don't you know?
He's a villain, but I want him to be a human. I'm like, everybody who plays a fucking villain says that. That doesn't impress me. Holy shit. I don't know why I ever doubted that he would be out of place.
Well, like, I think
he
later kind of amended that comment by saying, like, it was actually like his relationship as a parent and a relationship with his own father that drew him to the role more than anything else.
The other important thing that he's gone on record saying that an actor who can act with his eyes, like acting with your eyes is the most important thing an actor can do. That's his personal philosophy. And
Agreed.
I think that he just proves it with this movie.
Mm-hmm.
He is the most nuanced antagonist. I don't even really call him a villain. Besides destroying the world for 1,000 years, but beyond that.
Well, Marvel movies work when their villains work. That's just brass tacks. So yeah, when they went through all the trouble to explain him and his physicality in the role and everything, him doing the stuff, that's when I knew it was gonna work.
He could have spoke with.
Oh, hold on. Shit. All right.
But yeah, you're on
where you left off. Oh, there we go.
But yeah, I was just agreeing with Chris. Like, he's on the money. The father in this film, the OG Mandarin, let's call him. He carries a lot of the weight of the seriousness of the film because our main character has to grow into that.
Yeah, it's a hero's journey.
But he's believable. So the weight is perfectly. And what's cool about that is that because he does such a good job, sometimes they kind of take the weight off and they move away from it for a while. But when it comes back, it's just as good. You know what I'm saying? So they like to move around a little bit and they like to focus on different things, but it doesn't hurt the film because we know we're getting back to something that's really grounded.
Yeah, and let's talk about the actual character of Shang-Chi here for a minute. And I cannot pronounce the actor. Like I have it here. I'm afraid to say it out loud because I'm going to butcher it.
Well, isn't it like Simeon Liu or something like that nature?
Like Simu Liu? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's pretty on the money. My Mandarin's
but by the way, he's Canadian, bro. Like, don't get too hurt.
We got in trouble with getting names wrong before.
My girlfriend's from Canada. She is so excited. Like, the new big Marvel hotness is Canadian. Like, she's so proud of that.
I read an article that said like the Simu Liu like dressed up as Spider-Man for birthday parties for becoming this for becoming a Marvel star. So I'm like, there's hope for me.
Well, we'll see. The funniest shit. Yeah, the funniest shit that I read was Simeon Liu used to be a stock photo actor.
I know you're talking about.
So he starts posting memes of himself as in stock photos, laughing at haters who didn't.
Oh, dude, he is popping off.
It is so good. To know that those are actual photos and they were set up years in advance. It's so good.
My favorite one of those is the stock photo company retweeted that saying like, we always had belief in you, but if being a superhero doesn't work out, the door is always open. It's like, is the door the thousands of dollars you made on me when you paid me $100? Yep. He is going off on Twitter, dude. It's fucking hilarious.
I think one of my favorite little things I saw there was just like, what if he went back to he kept the reins, went back to San Francisco and made a startup, and it just takes his stock photos and edits the on them.
but I mean,
the ninja guy in the background.
Simeon Liu, I think he's starting to settle into the idea that his life is going to be different. Leading up to the film, he put his foot in his mouth a couple times. Yeah, but he worked it out. He worked it out.
And he's earned his spot. He's really fucking good at this.
Yeah. Oh my god.
He easily carries this movie, and considering this is a property that's obscure by most people, the fact that he can carry this so effortlessly and instantly make him engaging and
it's obscure. Don't let's not forget, for Marvel history buffs, it's obscure because it's terribly tropish in its original iteration.
Yeah.
They tried to pretend like it didn't happen.
We're not gonna talk about Fu Manchu
because his father is Fu Manchu.
The fucking mustache and everything.
All right. God. So there's some things that Stan Lee didn't want us to see.
There was definitely some parts where I was like, this feels like an apology for Iron Fist, which is just
my god, yes. Yes.
Especially
okay. I didn't expect anything from Iron Fist because I didn't know anything other than his association with Luke Cage, so it didn't bother me as much as it bothered you guys.
Well, Iron Fist is one of my top 5 Marvel characters.
Okay.
They shafted them so hard, there is no goodwill with a casual audience. Iron Fist may as well just never show up in anything Marvel ever again.
Well, they did my boy Luke Cage right.
I fucking love both seasons. I thought Luke Cage was great.
But it's like Simu Liu.
He's frozen again.
God damn it!
I can see you. Can you guys see me? Hold on. All right. I'm having technical issues. Fun. Anyway, compared to Iron Fist, because I did notice they said you have the heart of a dragon, and you come from this interdimensional Chinese city in the mountains. And some shows okay, there's a little bit of look, we know we shouldn't have given Iron Man 2 seasons, but we did, and we're sorry. But you take that, and then
Iron Fist.
Iron Fist, yeah. And you take that, if you first off, you actually have the actor learn how to do stage combat, which is already an improvement over Iron Fist.
Well, we need to talk about why both Iron Fist and Shang-Chi exist in the first place.
Yeah,
we're gonna have to get into
because I don't know that part, but I do know. Yeah, I'm gonna let Chris go off. I can tell he knows this stuff.
All right, history between Iron Fist and Shang-Chi. Go.
Okay, so we have to go back to Ron said off camera, how did 2 white guys get Black Panther right off the bat from the debut issue, and it took decades for Iron Fist and Shang-Chi to be good?
Mm-hmm.
Here's why. I mean, Black Panther, it's in the name. He was a direct political statement that was extremely relevant, and it was a great way for people to hear. He was written...
God damn it.
Just finished with Black Panther?
Okay, sorry. As you were saying.
So, Iron Fist and Shang-Chi were particularly made to cash in. Think about the original Heroes for Hire. You got Luke Cage and Iron Fist. There's a reason those 2 were together.
Mm-hmm.
2 very popular independent action movements were going on in cinema. You got blaxploitation and the Hong Kong films, or Kung Fu films, whatever you want to call them. That's why they were paired together, because all these low-income urban areas, I guess is the polite way to put it, as the media would put it in their retrospectives.
Don't put it polite. It's places where ambulances don't go. They don't give a fuck about anything.
Fair enough. Fair enough, man.
All right.
So, they were cheap to import, cheap to dub, or they were made cheap domestically. So you got blaxploitation and Kung Fu films. Basically, double marquee.
Yeah, side note, even though they were cheap to make, blaxploitation films still weren't, they were still blocked most black directors had to lie and say they were making pornos.
Yeah, that's
to even get them made.
yeah.
So continue.
It's I'm sorry, just remembering that stuff's always just like, man, what a shitty hand minorities in the film industry have been dealt with for a long time. Still now, but even worse back then. So anyway,
we made tons of progress.
Those were getting popular. You know, you got Shaft and Bruce Lee were becoming household names, and then Marvel's like, oh fuck, Luke Cage, Iron Fist, and then later, just more direct solo stuff with Shang-Chi. And in the 70s, I don't want to use this word, but Orientalism was also becoming a big thing. Like, you know, you saw, I forget what it was for, but there was that old ad campaign of the ancient Chinese secret.
Yeah.
I'm sorry for the voice. I realized afterwards what I was doing. But like, you know, so they decided to double down on that with Shang-Chi.
Right.
And it took them over a decade for all three of those characters to like really be respectable outside of, oh, here's our poster. We need the black guy. There's Luke Cage and Black Panther. Mm-hmm. Maybe Falcon, depending on when it was made. And then once characters like the OG Queen herself, Storm, one of my favorite X-Men, was a real breakthrough when the first real breakthrough since Black Panther.
True.
Where a black character was just done so fucking well. And they're like, okay, well, let's take these characters and just remake them. Like, you know, Luke Cage, he fights in Harlem, and he doesn't always fight big superheroes. He fights the people who are dealing or shipping in the drugs for the dealers.
Yeah, regular
getting you know, working girls off the street into a good home. And Shang-Chi was kind of the same thing for Chinatown. Iron Fist is white. There's always kind of a bit of a white savior complex in him. Yeah. He became better. He just became a cool-ass kung fu guy.
Who's also like multi-billionaire and has his own corporation because, sure.
Yeah, the white guy gets the best treatment, huh?
Of course.
But it took a long time for those characters to get good. And now that the MCU, we're seeing the departure of Black Widow, Iron Man.
You Captain just brought America. Up a really good point. I'm sorry. Luke Cage and Iron Fist were heroes for hire, but they operated out of Luke Cage's office, and Iron Fist never once helped him out with any money.
I never thought about that.
What the fuck? They're like best friends.
Yeah.
Damn. But anyway, so now
I'm sorry.
I don't know enough about it.
It's a good point. I just never thought about it either. You're right. But now Kevin last name Feige? What's his last name?
Yeah, Feige. Kevin Feige. I usually hear Feige. Yeah.
Yeah, I hear it both ways also. But so he's kind of doing the same thing. He's like, whoa, we have this basically endless cast of characters that we can now use. Except for half the Spider-Man. They have to share that shit with Sony. But he's like, well, let's reinvigorate these characters the way the comics did, and let's get good representation, because we've been getting good representation, not just blatant representation. I think that's a very important thing.
Yeah.
Let's get these new stories and bring them into the bigger consciousness. But most importantly, let's get people who know their backgrounds, or the backgrounds, just in Shang-Chi's case, just a general Hong Kong film background. I mean, the guy himself, I don't think is, but he clearly knows his shit, to get it out there. And I think Shang-Chi, I can't believe people thought this was going to fail. I mean, I know why.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah. I said when my initial reaction was as soon as they started leaning into the spiritual side of Shang-Chi, I kind of figured that China would rebuke it. No matter how many instances or overtures that they made to the country. So did that hold? Are they accepting the film in China, or are they still blocking it? Because last I heard in the Hollywood Reporter, they weren't even going to play it.
I know China just had this big thing where if it's I know for domestically, and I heard they were looking for international productions, but domestically, if you have a Western lead, then you just don't get the funding for your film.
I see.
And they're just going to phase out having Western leads in their movies. And I'm not sure how it works internationally, even if that does go forward. I think this is grandfathered in. I don't know what the contracts are, but even then, the government of China can just say, fuck that at any given turn.
But I always felt like Shang-Chi was going to do well here. But the make or break moment will be the international, because they're looking to do, they're looking to get $1 billion off this, and China hits them hard if they can't get it in there.
I mean, it's already made its budget back just in the 2 weeks it's been moved. So it's
just domestically.
But the marketing budget is a whole nother thing.
That's true.
That's like 1.5 times your actual budget.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's
$400 million film. Mm-hmm. You're looking at like at least 2 to.
You got to do like 350
million.
Yeah, you got to do like 350.
Because it's Marvel shit, so they're going to throw that money at it.
Because that's the toys. That's the TV spots during football. That's all that stuff.
I hope it does well. I don't know the China situation. Mm-hmm. I haven't looked into it personally. I'm going to be honest. I didn't really think about that. But because any mysticism is like forbidden in their content. You know what I mean? They don't allow it. I think they're a little less harsh than Japan is. But yeah, usually when it comes to foreign films that have that sort of thing in it, like they just immediately just Speaking of
Ghostbusters 2016 was not in China.
Oh yeah, just ghost or no go right there. Yeah. Ghost or bad luck.
Soon as you say anything like that, it's like no,
But speaking of Asian Marvel characters from the past, I doubt we're going to see Silver Samurai anytime soon.
I mean, and he was super prevalent in the 90s. I remember.
Yeah.
I remember like they were putting him everywhere, all types of places he didn't belong.
Him and Omega Red were the two.
They put Silver Samurai in the freaking Marvel Heroes fighting game, and I'm like, who is this fool?
Children of the Atom, hell yeah.
Yeah, and they were making like action figures for him and shit, and I'm like, bro, like we don't even fuck with Silver Samurai like that. Like,
oh man, you want to feel old? I was talking with
I'm 38.
I was talking with my kids about X-Men.
Okay.
None of them knew who Gambit was. None of them. We had Uno cards, and I was like, I'll be like Gambit, and just like deal them out like them. Like, who's Gambit? From the X-Men, the Cajun guy, and they're like, I know Wolverine.
bro, Gambit is my dude. Okay, like probably on my top 5 at the top list, at the top of the list, 1 or 2. Gambit is my dude. Okay.
Hell yeah.
Like
I respect
Gambit
that.
is my dude. Like even the concept of harnessing kinetic energy is just fucking dope. And for him to get it, you know what I mean? Just amazing.
Cool ass Creole French guy.
So cool.
As far as X-Men go, Nightcrawler is always mine.
Okay.
Also respectable.
Yep.
Also good. I'm a Cyclops guy, so I get shit on all the time.
You should.
I'm sure you do. I'm sure you do.
Hey! You mentioned Children of the Atom.
He's good in that game.
That's because in the Capcom games, he's sick.
Yeah, he rocks in the Capcom.
You have Gambit. Right. You have Nightcrawler. You have White Vanilla Bread. That is Cyclops.
Fuck you
call the last.
Somebody has to make the hard calls, and they hate the guy who does it. But somebody has to do it, man.
Does he have to be so boring? Anyway,
does he have to let Wolverine date his girlfriend behind his back when I say another?
So he got the Phoenix Force. You know who else got the Phoenix Force?
And he killed Xavier with it. Yeah.
Shang-Chi. So let's go back to Shang-Chi.
Let's do it. Hey, you get me talking about X-Men. Well, this will be a whole another thing.
I don't hate Cyclops, by the way. I'm just using fuck with you. But anyway, one thing I do respect a lot about the current stage of Marvel that we're in by Phase 4 is that it feels like Marvel is definitely expanding, not just representation, but how they tell stories in general. Between like WandaVision and Falcon Winter Soldier and Black Widow to a lesser degree. And now we have Shang-Chi, which is more like, this is definitely takes place in the Marvel universe, but it's not a traditional Marvel story. It's a hero's journey,
I agree.
I like that a lot.
It's an origin story, but it definitely feels different from your typical Marvel movie.
And it's good that they saved the real connections to Marvel afterwards.
Yeah, like
in my opinion.
Yeah, and I feel like this is a perfect time for these stories to be told in Phase 4 because we're dealing with the aftermath of the biggest battle.
Yeah.
So we can go into the minutia and we can pick out stories that would be lesser in other people's eyes and make them.
You can decrease the scale. Not every story has to be all or none.
Exactly. Exactly.
And I mean, this one still kind of ups the scale towards the end, but up until that point, like it's a relatively like personal affair for the most part.
Mm-hmm. So we want to get into spoilers because there's something that people complained about. I am so glad they didn't do it after I saw the movie.
Yeah, me too. I know what you're talking about.
I know. After when they're in
spoiler from here on out. Spoiler. If you haven't watched it, go watch it.
I forget the name. Talal, the village, and they're talking about the sealed door where the evil dragon lives.
You were thinking Fin Fang Foom, right?
Fin Fang Foom. Yeah. Oh yes, that would have been terrible.
Yes, that would have been. They talk about it at the end because he's not an actual Chinese dragon. I forget the name of the race he's from. They're a space or a race of space dragons. Uh-huh. And they created the original Mandarin's rings. So they're talking about, the rings are sending out a beacon. So they're kind of going to bring that in a way that I think is better than tying them into actual Chinese mythology. I mean, faux Chinese mythology, but still so much better. I'm so glad.
And also that's a positive angle to put it in there because then you could say that, the Chinese drew the dragons like this because of him. And
Exactly.
You could tie it in that way. I get you.
Exactly.
I have a feeling it's going to tie more into the Eternals. I feel like that's at least the angle I'm going with it.
Why are people so hard? Got such a hard on for the Eternals failing? Why do people? All I see online is just that Eternals are going to fail.
Well, if we're talking about characters that people don't know, the Eternals are pretty low, or I guess pretty high on that list.
Yeah, but nothing I see about it suggests that it's immediately going to fail though.
There's really like a few reasons I could think of. One, the director is a woman. Two, they gender switch some of the characters. And three, it has people of color. That's the reason I see why they feel it's hard for people failing.
Boo fucking who?
Yep, because
boo fucking who?
It's always the same reasons.
If that shit bothers you, grow up.
No, but that's every time you hear a Marvel Marvel fan piss their pants over something, really wants something to fail. It's always one of those three reasons. It's always about either racism or sexism. It's almost always the case because it's always get woke, bro, and that kind of bullshit.
I mean, people talk about that with Taskmaster from Black Widow. That's not because they changed the character like that. It's because it fucking sucked ass.
Yeah, and let me step on my soapbox here, okay? So Hollywood is trying to self-correct. Mm-hmm. Okay, this shit has been going on for decades. In theater, when they put out a casting notice and say, "Well, this is our 100th time doing Into the Woods, and everybody's white again, but trust us, we try to look for everybody, and these are just the best actors."
Are you talking about? Wait, you're in LA, right? You're not.
I'm in LA, but I'm in the Bay Area.
So that happened with I'm not going to name the theater, but there was a local theater.
I know the one. I got my ear to the street. So let me make the example. So when this happens in theater, none of the white people bat an eyelash. Okay, Hollywood says the same thing, but they put a black person in a role that's meant for somebody else, and then everybody starts tripping. Mm-hmm. Why can't we just use the same excuse? I like these black people in this role. We auditioned over 300 people. These are the best actors for the job, and just leave it at that. Why do we always got to be like, it's not character accurate, it's not this and that? I'm like, okay, so then let's reverse roles and see what you guys say then.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? I bet you a DC fanboy could talk me into why being John Stewart being white is okay. Okay.
Wow.
They would never. Play, man. You get what I'm saying? I bet you if somebody did it, they give me paragraphs and paragraphs about how it's okay.
Yeah. No. Okay. I can 100% see that happening.
That's so. Keep the same fucking energy. Move on.
I mean, really it boils down to, and it's like I think Ron, I've talked to you about before too, which is what it really boils down to is in the 90s especially, the comic book industry pandered to the adults with the money for like the worst and longest time, and that's why the 90s is considered like the worst. Chris, you know this, like the worst decade in comics was in the 90s, and the problem
that sucks because that's when I loved.
There was good shit, but there was lots of bad shit.
But that's
don't talk
like
about
all
the bad shit anymore for a
and,
reason.
the fallen underwear and all that shit. That's
you talking about Image Comics specifically or what?
Spawn.
They were off to a rough start, man. Spawn, pretty cool. Not much for the first couple years.
But all that other stuff that they had on that, like I was like, bro.
But the point of that is we got less than a minute before this recording goes out, so we'll have to take a commercial break in a second. But the problem is like that same group of entitled white people who got used to being pandered to for a full decade never got used to the fact that they're not being pandered to anymore, which they've been trying to slowly take away from the last 20 years. What we're seeing now that they've gone full into we don't care about these people anymore, is that pushback to those same white entitled fanboys who are mad that it's not about them anymore. And with that, we'll take a quick commercial break. So see you guys in a second.
Okay.
All
right. And we're back.
So there's one thing about the movie I hear a common complaint about also.
Okay.
Awkwafina.
Okay. See now Awkwafina, let me preface this. Awkwafina has trouble because of her previous choices though.
Yeah.
Okay. We matter of fact, off camera, we were just talking about this. Okay. Awkwafina has reformed her ways. She's a brilliant actress. I've seen her in more than just this. She's very funny. The black scent was never okay, my dear.
Mm-hmm.
It was never okay. This is why you're getting flack now. So hope you learn your lesson.
Yeah.
That's
so normally, like, speaking of her opinion on the black scent, which I know is a very common criticism, especially with her old music.
Right.
When my baby cousin we watched Raya, and she's like 8. I'll call my baby cousin when she's 80, but I hate to be that guy, but she has a lot of Asian friends, but a lot of her friends at her school are Asian. So she was happy because they were happy because we're like, yeah, we get to see Vietnamese people in a Disney movie, and that's cool. Yeah. But all of them were wondering, why is Sisu voiced by a black woman, not an Asian girl?
Oof.
Yeah. I like Sisu the character. I thought Awkwafina was obnoxious in that. And it's kind of the same here. I don't think she's as bad. I think that her jokes really just flow with everything a lot better. I don't really have a big complaint with her shooting the dragon at the end.
Sure.
Like, come on, that's what happens to any character. Any sidekick would have done.
Yeah, I don't care about that.
Yeah.
Most of what people talk about with Awkwafina, like I said, is the baggage she brings into the film.
Yeah.
Not anything she actually did in the film.
Like, I feel like if everyone's playing with Arrow thing, it was like, dude, we just watched like a dude learn how to use 10 all-powerful rings in like 2 seconds and ride a fucking dragon. I don't think we're really gonna talk about what's implausible.
To be fair, his mom was teaching him the entire time how to use the rings.
That's true.
That's what the flashback was about.
This is how you use a gun versus, hey, he actually fire it.
Oh no, he learned it. I don't need to see an hour-long montage of every single.
Yeah, she trained him to be a counterbalance because she knew who his father was.
Yeah,
that makes perfect sense.
Yeah, you can accept it. Like, okay, you saw that one scene, know what happened other times.
My point is that kind of like nitpicky, this everything needs to make sense in every movie kind of bullshit really annoys me personally. And it's this case, like, if you need to criticize that, you need to criticize everything else too. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't hurt the film. Get over it.
Yeah. Like, I mean, it's arrows made out of dragon skin. And they're supernatural arrows to begin with. They probably just shoot themselves. You probably just hold it straight and it fucking does whatever. You know what I mean? I mean, at this point, we fucking with so much mythological, spiritual shit. It probably is talking to her. It's probably to the left, to the left, to the right, to the right.
Does anyone else want what is it? Manny, Maurice, plushie?
Morris,
yeah.
Morris. I am so glad that Ben Kingsley was the only real Marvel. Like, you saw Wand and Abomination earlier. That was the only real Marvel thing that had a huge impact.
Yeah. Talk about aging gracefully, dude. Like, Ben Kingsley has had such a long and great storied career. And for him to still be around as cool as he is, as sharp as he is, as craftful as he is as an actor is just so good, man.
And like we hear the story of how they got him to come back too is pretty great because apparently they called him and it's like, hey, we want you to come back as Travis. And apparently it's like, oh, hold on. What's up? He started to act like he was talking to somebody else and he was just talking to himself as Travis.
Oh, yeah.
He came back like, Travis is very excited to do this. He will get in touch with you soon.
That's so funny. But yeah, dude, like I sat down watching him and I kind of felt my age a little bit. I looked at him and I was so happy for him. I was like, dude, this is the dude that I watched play Gandhi in my middle school in a videotape on a VHS,
man,
in like the 90s. And he's still this good.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like,
man.
Damn. He's just good.
And Travis is still a fun character. And I'm one of those people that didn't hate the twist in Iron Man 3. I was pretty okay with it.
I loved that.
Yeah, I thought it was creative. I thought it was clever. I thought it was funny.
It was better than actually using the Mandarin in the capacity he's known for Iron Man.
Well, because I mean, had the actual Mandarin been there, he would have whooped Iron Man's ass. Like, Iron Man and Pepper Potts were not ready for this dude.
No.
You know what I mean? Like, come on.
So like that was like I was happy to see him. I feel like that's part of if any part of the movie kind of dragged, it was kind of that whole section. If anything compared to the rest of the film. But that being okay.
There's one thing. This is not really a spoiler territory because like I said, it's been a while since I watched it. It's been almost a week. Maybe longer now.
I think it's been exactly a week for me.
Exactly. Well, I saw it around the same time you did, but it was the day before it released commercially.
Yeah, so it would have been last Thursday.
Okay, yeah. So this is just a feeling. I can't pin down a specific part because it's not the dialogue that bothers me. It's not the story that bothers me, but I felt like there was a spot like right in the middle of this film that just made the movie longer that just did not need to be there.
I think it's because the pacing didn't quite keep the even keel it was keeping up to that point.
Yeah. Like I felt like there's a huge chunk in the middle of the movie that if you just cut it out and just did it anyway, like it would have been fine.
Like I knew what they're doing. I like the character moments it had, but I do agree that it could have been better paced.
I'm trying to think of a specific spot you're talking about because there is one problem with the dialogue is that there are parts where it's just exposition. And then the real stuff happens and the fight happens. And then there's another chunk that's just exposition. I'm trying to think of a specific one.
Yeah, because I'm sitting and I'm watching it and it felt like it went on forever and I just got no nutritional value from it. You know? And again, I can't pin it down. It's not any one of the big moments or any of the...
Is it everything in the compound that's not with Wenwu?
Maybe.
That's kind of what I was thinking because it is nice to see Ben Kingsley and stuff like that. That whole section did go at an awkward pace.
Yeah, and I felt like this shit drags, bro.
Yeah, but then that's kind of what I have to do. Like, oh, here's all the Chinese fantasy components we're going to introduce into this suddenly. That's kind of when it switches genres a little bit.
Yeah, and I was feeling that. I thought that was cool.
It goes from Ainley to Wuxia. Well, I guess Ainley did Wuxia, so I don't know what point I'm trying to make.
Excuse me. but yeah, that's the only. I just remember feeling like this doesn't need to be a 2-hour movie.
But it picked itself back up again, and when it does have a good payoff with the. And I really liked the time in the fantasy realm. I like the kind of lesson they're going with, like Shang-Chi is kung fu style with the open fist versus calm fist. I thought that was a very subtle way to get that message across. Without going like, here's the moral of the movie.
Well, and that's kind of how they snuck in martial arts culture as well, because that is a real thing.
And that's the important
there's a reason why when martial artists bow, sometimes they do this, right?
Yeah, it makes sense.
That's the same thing.
Yes. Yeah. But so Shang-Chi fights with his close fist because that's how his father fights.
Right.
And then when he learns he can overcome him, that's when he gets open fists.
Yeah.
And when Wu's getting killed at the end, when he gives the rings, do you notice what he does with his hands?
Yeah.
Opens them.
This is all about letting go and not like
exactly.
past and anger and bitterness and resentment that from that strained relationship that you have with your parents.
When he was with his wife, his hands were open, and when she died, they closed right back up. And then it's at the very end when he realizes that was wrong, they open again.
Yeah, so like all those things are done very, I don't want to say like subtly because it's pretty obvious if you pay attention to it.
I also like all the subtle lore. Like when he was married and having kids, he would take the rings off and he would progressively age a little bit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I like little things like that.
And the play
cool.
which is cute. So I like those moments too, and I do like that it was expressed non-verbally, like it trusted the audience's intelligence to figure it out. And I like, and those are the kind of character moments I appreciate, especially when it is about those complicated like parental relationships, which I can't speak everybody. I have like could be a little dicey, but. Yeah, other than that, like the action scenes are beyond spectacular. That opening bus fight, my mouth was open like the entire time. Just like, holy shit, this is so fucking good. I love it.
Like the director knew his stuff. He studied the greats in all the martial arts genres. Like you could just tell.
And they did it in San Francisco. Explain that one.
I actually have a coworker who was like on the street when they were shooting that, so he was talking like,
man, I don't know why people were freaking out at that bus. I mean, you ever drive an SF?
I have, yeah.
That's just what it's like, man.
That's just normal.
That's an average Tuesday.
The most unrealistic part of that is the streets are that open.
Yep. I'm trying to figure out how they got around the trolley and all that other bullshit.
All right, maybe figure out which lane let you turn fucking right this fucking road. That'd be great because one lane is red, one's kind of in the middle. You're not sure which way you're supposed to go to,
and then all the cars are parked, so you only have half of your lane anyway. Yeah.
God forbid you need to park on the street. Anywho, I will say one other thing. Like I am positive now they are setting up a Dark Avenger or Thunderbolts movie.
Yeah.
Like. I'm like 90% sure they're gonna announce that soon. Between all the things that have come out and Phase 4 so far.
I want my Marvel Knights.
Marvel Knights would also be cool.
Yeah, I mean they're bringing Moon Knight in. He's one of the central figures. Then Shang-Chi.
Did you get the Midnight Suns in? Yeah.
Well, they're putting out a strategy, an RTS game.
It's fucking XCOM.
Yeah, it's XCOM.
That's fucking crazy.
Like, yeah, and I love XCOM, so I'm all about it.
It was just weird to see it.
You're right.
Yeah,
you're right. At first I thought it was a mobile game. I was like, not another one.
I thought they were going to revive Ultimate Alliance.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'll take XCOM.
But like, let's think about it. They have Ghost Division out and on the Withers now. They have Abominations back. They got the new Black Widow. They got U.S. Agent.
All the stones are being set if they want to.
Yeah,
that's true. And if, like, depending on how the next Spider movie goes, we might have Willem Dafoe's Green Goblin back. So make him the ringleader.
That's that's going to be an isolated incident.
Probably, but if they wanted to, they could.
That's undoubtedly fan service. Bullshit. Yeah, that's Sony fan service. That's nothing else.
I agree, but if they wanted to do that, they could. That's my point.
although they better give me all three Spider-Men doing
I don't know
doing the hustle outside of the shop with the suit on. You gotta give me all three. I need all three to the James Brown song and Spider-Man 3. All right, you gotta give me all three of them doing it.
Kobe just sitting there like, I hate my fucking life.
Yeah, I need it in my life. Okay, I need it.
But yeah, like other than that, like this movie has great heart, great characters, great action sequences. It really has, it explores a different side of the Marvel universe that feels a part of it while also being its own thing. And that's like always when these movies have worked best.
This is one of those MCU movies I would recommend to somebody who hasn't watched like anything since the Avengers: Age of Ultron or something.
I mean, like
I will make another Sony analogy. So what this feels like, what Shang-Chi feels like it's starting is, you guys ever seen the end of the original Men in Black?
Yes.
Where it shows the Earth and it zooms out again.
Oh, and they're playing marbles.
Zooms out again.
Yeah.
And then it zooms out again. That's what I feel like we're getting. We feel like we're finding out just how small and large things can be in the Marvel universe at the same time.
I mean, they talk about the Chinese village is in another universe,
right?
Itself.
Yeah,
and they're really going into the multiverse stuff.
But I also feel like the stories themselves are taking shape and expanding size and contracting at the same time. It's an exciting time to see where it actually goes.
I mean, between everything else, like Loki and the What If series and all these other things, that like we can do pretty much whatever the fuck we want now. It's pretty much what they're saying.
Oh man, I watched the first episode of What If. I got so pissed, I stopped.
I haven't seen any of them. I wanted them to be like about 5 or 6 before I started watching them.
So we can talk about off camera for spoilers, but this is the ultimate nerdy nitpick. And you will think I am justified when you hear it, man.
Sure, I don't know. I kind of have I'm gonna put on my skepticals for that clip.
Okay, yeah, and also don't feel like you can't do spoilers with me. I'm not a person that's upset by spoilers.
Oh, you can literally. For a Shang-Chi video.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, like if you share anything with me, like I could still watch it and still get something out.
Like so far, like half of What If is pretty good. Of like the 4 or 5 episodes they've released so far. So
the thing I hate is so centered to just me. I'm sure I'm the only person who hated this.
Okay. All right. Let me adjust my chair for this. I got.
All right.
Do we want to go into this right now? We can.
I mean, I'm game. If you really like What If, and you don't want to hear my stupid opinion, then let's finish our thoughts on Shang-Chi. 5 out of 5. One of the best MCU movies ever made.
It's
so far.
I have to figure out my ranking, but this is
I would love to see it again.
So yeah, I'm taking a different approach with MCU movies now. I will not rate them at all until the phase is over.
That's fair.
That's probably a smarter thing to do.
Because what's good now could be completely ruined by something else.
Yeah, fair point.
So
I think what I will say this in the grand scheme of the MCU and all that stuff, and they're like, well, I hate when people go, oh, superhero fatigue and all that crap, is more just like, this to me shows that the genre is evolving and it's finding new territory to explore while still being universally appealing.
I agree. It doesn't, and nobody's putting a gun to your head to make you go watch these movies either. By the way,
it's not trying to be dark and gritty or some edgelord crap.
Yeah.
It is.
You go watch a B movie with Bruce Willis if you feel like it.
Yeah, right. But it is finding ways to give people the heroes they need. I think especially the younger generation need heroes like this, while still finding new stories to tell with those same heroes. And I think they're definitely exploring new avenues to do that. They're really taking chances with this phase as opposed to the other ones. And it makes me very excited to see where they're going to go from here, because I can only see that increasing the more that this new phase of things proves to be successful.
All right.
Yeah, I'm with it, dude. Like I said, I liked the majority of what I saw. I mean, I want to say like 90%, but where they take it is with the phase, where they take it is way more important than what I just individually see.
For sure. And like that being said, like, fuck yeah, like give me more like Chinese lore, give me more Shang-Chi, give me more WandaVision, give me more like space time traveling cops,
well I'm still trying to figure out why you ended all the Netflix series and you didn't just start them again on Disney Plus. Like I still don't understand.
It's contractual bullshit as far as I know.
It's
a damn shame.
But I mean, who doesn't want to make money? Like, you know what I mean? Like slapping Netflix logo on it before you play. Who gives a shit?
I want Charlie Cox back.
Yeah. Well, he's got. Well, a little birdie told me that he is back.
Who is back?
Charlie Cox is Daredevil.
I know he's denied the rumors that he's in the Spider-Man movie, but
he's lying.
Allegedly.
He's lying.
Allegedly.
Just kind of like Daniel Garfield was alleged.
I'll say it again.
Movie.
He's lying.
All right.
Daredevil is back. It may not be where we think it is, but he's back.
I'll believe it. I know there's been heavily rumored that Vincent D'Onofrio is going to come back as Kingpin, which I'd love to see.
Oh my god!
Oh, he will most certainly be back. Whether
Charlie
or not
Cox is back, he has to be.
Yeah. Well, whether or not they come back at the same time, yeah, D'Onofrio will be back. He will. Matter of fact, he's playing Kingpin in another MCU movie that has nothing to do with the two of them.
It is?
Yeah. I don't think he's gonna be seen somewhere in a non-Spider-Man, non-Daredevil situation.
Bring back everybody except Danny Rand. I don't know the actor's name, but I don't care, man. I'm sure it wasn't his fault. Just everybody.
Well, it was
felt
kind of his
involved
fault.
in
He
the
did
practice.
kind of refuse to do the physical training. So
Well, the effect was
then,
cool.
Then yeah.
The
Okay.
effect was cool.
All right.
So yeah.
The actual fist
Shang-Chi?
was cool.
Shang-Chi, great,
Yeah,
great.
go see it and enjoy it. It's especially if you're a fan of the house that Bruce Lee built.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So we're gonna
Yep.
go off camera so we can talk about what if. Bye, everybody.
All right. Bye, guys.
Unless you want to see the what if page, in which case, leave a comment. Bye.